I think we need a flatter and simpler income tax system. I think what that will accomplish is two things. It will first reduce income taxes for people across the income spectrum, and secondly, it will ensure that the wealthy pay their fair share of tax. You know, we have significantly increased taxes in this country with the most recent budgets of federal and provincial governments. The upper income bracket now, income tax bracket of both federal and provincial governments now is 54%. Those are the failed policies of the past. Those are the old ideas of the 1960s and 70s that failed us so miserably. We once had 10 tax brackets in this country in the 1970s and early 80s, and it was the government of Brian Mulroney who in 1985 introduced income tax reform to flatten those brackets from 10 to 3. We've crept back up to 5 federal brackets now. It's the wrong direction for the country to take. That's why I think we need to flatten our tax system, reducing taxes for people across the income spectrum in all income groups. We need to simplify the tax system, and here's why. At 54%, there's a myriad of different ways for people to avoid paying that upper marginal rate. They can shift income to other jurisdictions. They can shift income to dividend income. They can shift income to capital gains. That's not fair, and that's what happens when you introduce 5 brackets rather than 3, and that's what happens when you have a system that's become overly complicated. So by flattening and simplifying the system, I think we'll be able to reduce income taxes for all income groups, but also ensure that the wealthy pay their fair share. On the issue of climate change, I think it's clear that carbon pricing has arrived in Canada. We have 2 provincial governments that are putting in place or that already have in place a carbon tax. We also have 2 provincial governments that have announced plans to implement a cap and trade system. So carbon pricing is here. The question for us as Conservatives is, what do we do with those revenues? And my view is very, very straightforward. I believe that those revenues should be used to cut income taxes. They should not be used to spend on government programs. Otherwise, those carbon revenues, those carbon prices will be simply nothing but a tax grab.
To follow up, obviously you're entering this race at a time when you know there's 2 other declared candidates, to your caucus colleagues. So as you said, looked around and said, no, Kelly's not up for the job and Max is not up for the job, I better do it. Why not Kelly and why not Max?
Well, I think both of them are going to be strong contestants, and it's not up to me to decide who is going to be the next Conservative Party leader. It will be up to the Conservative Party members on May 27th of next year. I look forward to having a vigorous contest. I'm in this race because I believe in this country. I believe in what it stands for. I also believe in Conservative principles, some of which I've outlined in my opening remarks, and I think that I've got the experience, I've got the principles, and we will be introducing the detailed policies that will take this party forward. And ultimately, I think my family's story of immigration to this country, my life experience as the kid of immigrant parents, will help us reach out to Canadians who, like my family, have come here from distant lands to make this their home and native land.